Hey guys, thanks for joining me again. I hope everyone's doing well out there. I want to welcome, we have a bunch of new members who have jumped on board. So, welcome everyone. And yes, this is how I like to conduct my newsletters. I like to do video format, of course, and it's going to be interactive. And I just like to teach each time a skill or a tactic, a strategy, an intervention that you can plug in today or tomorrow right into your daily routine that's going to start to pay you benefit in terms of helping you increase the quality of your life. That's what this is all about. I really like to work with active seniors and give them these types of intervention that's going to start to pay off more and more as we get older. Today I have a very important topic. It's regarding the seven basic movements, foundation movements. There's seven of them. I call them the Magnificent Seven because they're that important, they're that critical. We have squatting, lunging, pushing, pulling, hinging, rotating, and locomotion. Those are the seven. And locomotion can be any form of movement in terms of walking backwards, sideways, running, skipping, hopping, jumping. Those all fall under locomotion. But yes, those are the Magnificent Seven. And again, that's the foundation of all other movements, whether it be going to the grocery store, getting on the floor and playing with your grandchild, exercising, of course, going up and down stairs. Whatever you're doing, it all stems from these seven movements. They're all incorporated in all those other movements we're doing throughout the day. And that's why they're so important, because if we cannot do these seven correctly, mechanically soundly, then every movement thereafter is going to be in a deficit. It's going to suffer. And what happens, unfortunately, as we get older, this really starts to become evident. I like to think of it like if you ever go to the park or to the beach where there's a bunch of little kids running around, and just watch how they move. It is unbelievable how fluid and again how soundly they move mechanically. And what happens? I mean, we were there at one time, right? We could do those types of movements flawlessly. But what happens? We stop doing them, right? Life happens. We start sitting. We're on our phones and computers. We're driving, and we start to develop faulty movement patterns and poor postures. And then those seven, the Magnificent Seven, really start to suffer. And again, as we get older, this comes unfortunately blatantly clear. People can no longer assume positions that they should be able to. They can't hold postures. Again, they get into these faulty movement patterns, and this just compounds as we get older and older. Pain, injuries, lack of activity, it just stacks up on us. So it is so critical that we're able to move into these seven patterns as best as we can, ideally as best as we can. So I wanted to go through them with you and just show you a little routine, again, a little intervention that takes about 1 minute. You can start practicing today, and it can just pay off so much for you as you get older. If you can move in these seven type of movements mechanically soundly, you're going to be in a much better position in terms of being able to do the activities that you enjoy as you get older. So let me give you a little demonstration here. I'm going to pan down. I'm going to move out back here so you can see me. I think you can see me pretty well. And yeah, so we have the seven. And let's go with number one. The first one out of the seven is going to be that hinge. And a hinge, you can think about it like you're just pushing your hips back. You can flex your knees a little bit, get your shoulders about shoulder, or your feet about shoulder width apart, pointing straight. And you just want to push those hips back, soften the knees, and you can see, take notice of my back. I'm not compromising the integrity of my back. I'm keeping that back nice and straight as I hinge and push my hips back. So that's a hinge. So that's number one. So we can hinge, and then from a hinge, we can drop down into number two, a squat. So a squat, I want to start to push my knees forward. Again, my back is nice and strict. I'm lowering my rear end down to the floor, trying to keep my feet pointing straight. If you start to notice your feet opening up, that's just an indication that you have some restrictions in your hips. And that's a good point too. If you're having difficulty with any of these 7 basic movements, they can also be broken down. Each one can be broken down further into individual sub-movements. So if you are having difficulty with any of these 7, just send me a note and I can certainly make another video and we can break down each of the 7 into smaller movements. But we'll just be general for today so you get an idea. So we're gonna hinge, then we're gonna squat, we're gonna push those knees forward, lower our body weight. A good indication that you're squatting well is you start to feel the tension build up in your hamstring and glute muscles. You want those muscles to really kick in as you squat. So I hinged, I squat. Now I'm gonna rotate a little bit. So number 3 is rotate. So from this deep squat position, I'm gonna turn my shoulders and hips, point my arms to the ceiling. Nice rotation to the left. Back to where I started. I'm gonna rotate to the right now. Back to where I started. So we had 3, we hinged, we squatted, we rotated. Let's go into a push now. So I'm gonna walk my hands out in front of me in a push-up position, and let's go right into a push-up. So we get our push there, number 4, and now I'm gonna turn over on my back, and let's go to number 5. Let's do a pulling type of motion. So I'm gonna lie flat down, knees bent. I'm gonna bring my elbows to my sides at about a 90-degree angle, and I'm gonna pull my elbows down and pull my hips and rear up. It's a bridge, like a bridge. I'm pulling my body up, pushing through my feet, pushing through my elbows. You can hold it for a good 5 count, and then come back down. So we went into a pull, 5. Let's turn back over, up on the knees, and now we're going to number 6, which is going to be a lunge. So let's put a foot out in front of us. You can see I have my knee and hip bent to about 90 degrees. I can lean into it a little bit, so I have the majority of my weight on my lead leg. Back is still nice and strict, not compromised there. I'm going to drive through my right foot and stand up. Pause. We can come back down, and again you can see I'm maintaining the same angle up and down. And then we're going to alternate. So I'm going to bring my left foot out front now. Again, you can see my 90 here at my knee and hip. We can lean into it again. Just gives us a little bit more leverage, and we can use those big muscles in the back of our thighs and our glutes. And we're going to push up through the left foot, up tall, pause, lower back down, maintaining that plane. So that was 6, a lunge. I'm going to stay up actually. And now number 7, we just have locomotion. And as you recall, locomotion carries can carry a lot of different movements. So for this part of it, I'm just going to do a little jump. So I'm going to flex a little bit, jump, and back down. And that's the 7. So let me just review it again. So again, we're going to start number 1, we hinge. Number 2, we squat, pushing those knees out in front of us. Number 3, we rotate. Number 4, we're going to go into a push up. Number 5, we're going to do a pulling movement. So roll over onto your back, knees bent, you can lie flat down, elbows at 90 degrees, you can push them right into the ground. So you're pulling down and then you're pulling up with your body. Get those hips, rear right off the floor, pull and hold. Then we can come back down, and then we're going to number 6, which is going to be that lunge. So we get a leg out in front, a little lean, drive through the foot, back down, alternate, foot out in front, right foot, little lean, push up, So 6 is a lunge, and now 7, locomotion. And remember, for locomotion, we're going to throw in a little jump. And there you go, the Magnificent 7. Right? I mean, that is a great one. Again, you can start implementing today and start working on the Magnificent 7, really specifically honing in on each of those movements. And this is just a basic little routine again, and there's probably literally hundreds of routines you can do where you incorporate all of the Magnificent 7 into a little exercise routine. And I did two repetitions, but you could even do 10. And you can see, just going through the Magnificent 7 on a daily basis, you're working strength, you're working mobility, stability, get your heart rate up, so you're getting an aerobic effect. So it's a great little intervention, again, that you can plug in today. And these are so important because, once again, everything stems from those 7 movements. Everything we do, we have to be able to do these types of movements. And the more effective, the more efficiently we can do the Magnificent 7, all of our other movement patterns are just going to be enhanced. And that's exactly what we need as we get older. We need as much leverage as we can as we get older. And unfortunately, too many people are not following these types of steps or interventions, and look what's happening. It breaks my heart. I spoke earlier about going to the park or the beach and watching kids. Go to the grocery store now, or to the airport or to the mall, and just watch how people are moving. It's really heartbreaking, and that's the most difficult part, because so much of that could be prevented if we just start really working on the most important parts of movements. And this is critical. So I hope that is beneficial to you guys. I hope you see the importance of this. And like I said, there's hundreds of different exercises that we can do to incorporate the Magnificent 7. We can make it more challenging. We can modify it and make it a little less challenging. And also, like I said too, if you're having difficulty with any of those 7, they can be broken down too into smaller movements. And then, working on each of those components, again, will just have an effect on the movement, whichever one you're having difficulty with. So let me know if you need further help, or if you'd like more examples of little routines where you incorporate the Magnificent 7. Happy to help, of course. Thanks so much for watching. And again, welcome to all the new members. I appreciate it. And I will be making another video very shortly. And again, any feedback, happy to help you guys. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.